Wow, can you believe that finish for Notre Dame and Ohio State up in South Bend? We're going to get right into it and have a lot of fun here on this Saturday night as we are live. And, of course, the whiteout was a blowout. We won't spend as much time on that, but a lot of great Big Ten action today. But it's all Ohio State and Notre Dame right here. Locked On Big Ten Live starts now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I am Craig Shemon, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube throughout the week, Monday through Friday. We're always there, but we're going live here on Saturday night. Thanks for checking us out. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we're brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions apply. Ohio State versus Notre Dame. We're going to be talking about this game all the way into December when it's time to decide who's going into the playoffs and who has the best resume. And again, the Penn State, Ohio State, that was a disappointment today, the whiteout today. We'll take a peek at week 5 as we look ahead at the end of the podcast today. But be sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you'll get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. We release these first thing every morning. If you're new to us, if you're just checking us out right now, we do an audio-only version of the podcast at the crack of dawn, and then the YouTube video version about 6 o'clock Eastern every single morning. All right, Ohio State and Notre Dame. Like the all-green uniforms, pretty cool. Kyle McCord versus Sam Hartman. Let's fast forward to the end of this game. It's absolutely crazy. And, of course, Notre Dame was trailing in most of this game. And, you know, Ohio State had a couple of cracks at it late. You know, with about 4 minutes to go, they did that jet sweep on fourth down. It didn't work. Notre Dame stopped them. They look like they can have this game if they can just run out the clock. They didn't. Ohio State gets the ball back again, goes down to the last play. And look, I'm sitting here watching the TV, and I know the previous play, you know, you can't throw because you're going to run out of time. But with 3 seconds to go, that opened up the entire playbook. And what do? They run off the left guard, left tackle, get into the end zone for the touchdown. It's good. And Ohio State reclaims the lead and wins 17-14 in a game that will have humongous playoff implications for both teams. But what a confidence booster for an Ohio State team and anybody in the Big Ten with any kind of resume for the postseason. That was just a phenomenal game. We love your reaction. We always take reaction, of course, at Talk Big Ten. That's the number 10 on Twitter. Comments here on YouTube as well. Always enjoy to hear from everybody. And I got the comment board open here as well on YouTube. If you want to hit me up right now, I'll see these live. But let's get into this because early in the game, I thought right off Kyle McCord, because it was going to be a Kyle McCord versus Sam Hartman battle all day long. You agree? So they come out. I thought McCord looked just a little off at the beginning, missed a wide open receiver on that opening drive. But as Ryan Day said, going into the locker room at halftime, look, it's understandable. This is the first time he's been in this environment. It's his 4th career start. What do you expect? Meanwhile, Sam Hartman on the other side, a 6-year senior veteran, looking good. The transfer, he looked pretty calm and comfortable early on. I'm thinking about that early one-handed catch by Mitchell Evans early on while being held for Notre Dame. And then that first drive, remember, 4th and 1, Hartman rolls out to the right side, gets the first down. We thought took a hard hit right at the pylon and or at the yard marker. Ryan Day challenges it, and they don't get the first down. Ryan Day wins the challenge, so 3 and out there. Saw a lot of different running backs, like 5 different running backs in the first quarter. Everybody was out there. And I want to get back to that because I thought Notre Dame had the chunk run up the middle seemed to be available to them all the first half. They did it once in a while. Now, when they came out in the second half and just mowed over Ohio State, that's when they kind of figured it out. Had they figured it out earlier, maybe we would have had a different outcome here today. But Notre Dame, they get rolling, and then they missed that 47-yard field goal attempt. They hook it. The first two possessions, no points there. Kyle McCord early on, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka, they were not open. Notre Dame did a good job covering those. Cade Stover got a lot of action early on. There was that big play early where DJ Brown got caught for pass interference on him that went under review. Remember, it went to review whether there was a catch or not. I think they called defensive holding, and then they changed it to a PI during that play. But I think at that point of that game, after that penalty, I think that's when McCord kind of settled down. It's like, yeah, we can move the ball downfield. And he kind of got into a little bit of a groove in the middle of the second quarter. Then the running game started getting better for Ohio State. Then they got down to the goal line early on. Ohio State did, and Notre Dame stuffed them. I mean, Notre Dame's defense was tough all night long. Both sides played great defense all night long. But on that early 4th and goal, remember McCord going back to throw, and Jalen Snead tipped the ball incomplete. Right there, look, I'm not going to be Monday morning quarterback. I would have gone for 3 at that point. You know, you'd play a quarter and a half, almost 2 quarters, and you're scoreless. I would have put 3 points on the board at that point if I was Ryan Day instead of going for it. And again, we kept seeing glimpses of the running game with Notre Dame in the first half. Jabron Payne had that big 22-yarder, big, powerful runner, but their drive stalled. They had an incomplete pass on a 3rd and 3. Marvin Harrison doesn't get his first touch until 3:30 to go in the first half. Benjamin Morrison did a pretty good job locking down on him, the defensive back from Notre Dame. And then after that, after the catch, then Marvin Harrison had a catch, but that was ruled incomplete despite a holding and a pass that was changed pass interference there. Kyle McCord and Emeka Egbuka, he throws a dime to him, but it's incomplete. He dropped it in the back of the end zone and went through his hand. He came down with it, and we saw that it hit the ground. It seemed like everybody saw it, but the officials. So we had to do a review to see that was incomplete. But that was a beautiful pass by Kyle McCord at that point. That was about with 41 seconds to go and a half. So that takes a touchdown off the board. And then 3rd and 8, incomplete in the end zone's almost picked off. But they have to settle for the Jaden Fielding 31-yard field goal that put Notre Dame up 3-0 with 25 seconds to go. The Ohio State defense, I've been spending a lot of time talking about the Notre Dame defense. The Ohio State defense should really be commended as well. They gave up only 1 passing play over 20 yards in the entire first half. At halftime, again, Ryan Day was not happy for leaving points on the board, or on the field rather. Didn't get them. Again, I would not have. I would have kicked and got something earlier on that earlier drive, but it's 3-0 at halftime. And a lot of interesting things in that ball game, but you start seeing Notre Dame really running the ball, not only with Jabron Payne, but also Jeremiah Love had a big run. Jarian Price had a big run. They started going pretty quickly in the second half. So Notre Dame stops Ohio State at the 39-yard line on 4th down in the second half, and then boom, 61-yard touchdown by TreVeyon Henderson. On that play, Marvin Harrison makes a block, the key block for the play, and he rolls his leg. I thought he was going to be hurt. That was about with 11 minutes to go in the third. We're just getting going. That 61-yard touchdown, though, makes it 10-0 Buckeyes at that point. Then Notre Dame, they get the ball, and they just run, and they just run, and they just run, and put together that huge drive in the second half where Jabron Payne scores on the touchdown to get on the scoreboard with 3:35 to go in the third. That was a beautiful, beautiful textbook 13-play drive, 75 yards, chewed up 7 minutes and 39 seconds. We got a 10-7 ball game at this point as we end up going into the fourth quarter. And again, McCord starts dinking and throwing, and started really looking comfortable, in my opinion. End of the third quarter, early the fourth quarter. And but then there's the punt where Notre Dame starts in the fourth quarter inside the 5. But then Hartman just starts going and finds Jaden Greathouse for 28 yards. He's making big pass plays. Hartman to Mitchell Evans for 25 yards. There was the play to Hartman made the throw, and the defensive back for Ohio State got called for the holding. Now Notre Dame's down at the 20-yard line and first down. Jeremiah Love comes in, 10-yard run, carried the whole team with him. Remember, I mean, powerful running stuff. And then Hartman throws to Rico Flores Jr. for the 2-yard touchdown. That caps off an 11-play, 96-yard drive that took 6.5 minutes. And now Notre Dame has its first lead of the game, 14-10, with 8:22 to go in the ball game. But that second half, Notre Dame just looked absolutely flawless. You're telling me a 13-play drive followed by an 11-play drive. It was a thing of beauty. It absolutely was. And it looked like Notre Dame at that point had all of the momentum going on in the game. And I thought, okay, is Ohio State in trouble here? But they started moving the ball. Kyle McCord hits Xavier Johnson for a 40-yard pass. And all of a sudden, Ohio State's going, man, we can win this thing. McCord had that they had the pass interference on the throw to Henderson, 15-yard penalty. And then they were stopped 3rd and 1. This is about 4.5 minutes ago. Ohio State's getting close. And they get stopped on 3rd and 1. And then they do the Agbuka sweep that Notre Dame stops them. And I thought right there, Notre Dame had won the game. Did you? I thought that was the game. But they couldn't run out the clock. Couldn't do it. Ohio State gets the ball back. McCord keeps them moving. McCord suffers the intentional grounding. They had to call a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff. A lot of interesting plays there. They get it down to the 1 with 7 seconds to go. And again, at that point, then it was down to 3 seconds. And again, the playbook's open. You can run or throw at that point because now it doesn't matter if they stop you on the run. Game's over anyway. So, and they had that nice run play, and Chip Trayanum runs it on in from a yard out, and that capped off a 15-play, 65-yard drive, extra points good with 1 second to go, and Ohio State wins this game 17-14. That's a big statement game. We talked about this game a lot on our podcast throughout the week. And one thing I noticed or I talked about at length was the fact that win or lose, I think both teams, they still have a lot ahead of them at this point. But I think that this game was actually more important for Notre Dame than it was for Ohio State. Like, I thought Ohio State could have lost this game, and they still have Penn State and Michigan, and then they still have a Big Ten championship possibly to play for, which would be another ranked team. Notre Dame doesn't have a conference championship game. And Notre Dame, all they have left on their schedule is a ranked Duke team, say what you will about, and USC. Okay. Pretty powerful team. That's about it. So I thought Notre Dame had to win this game because at the end, when we were only putting 4 teams in the playoff, your resume, your pellets on the wall matter. And this would have looked really good for Notre Dame at that point. But nonetheless, Ohio State looking great. All sorts of momentum here. Would love your reaction tonight or throughout the week. Hit me up on YouTube with the comments. And also feel free to hit me up on Twitter at TalkBig10, number 10. Would love to hear from you. We got a lot to talk about. Not only this, there was the whiteout, which turned out to be a blowout. It was a dud. Penn State totally controlled Iowa, and some other action in the Big Ten today. Plus, we're going to take a quick look, one of the earliest looks at Week 5. All that coming up here on Locked On Big Ten, live on Saturday night. And we are brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. You know, if you're watching here on a Saturday, maybe you had a long work week. Maybe your office, you got to hire people, just like a coach has to put players on a team. You got to get the right team members in your office. Every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. You post the job, you get the purple hashtag hiring frame, and it's the LinkedIn profile to spread the word to everybody that you're hiring. Then they got simple tools like screening questions, making it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and eventually hire, because that's the name of the game. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And I want to tell you about DoorDash in case, maybe your spouse used up the last of the coffee creamer this weekend when you're like, man, I need something, but I don't want to make a whole trip or whatever. You can check out DoorDash. You've trusted DoorDash to deliver your restaurant favorites, and now you can get grocery delivery that actually delivers too. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. And of course, you can save on all your grocery and restaurant favorites with a $0 delivery fee on all eligible orders with a Dash Pass membership. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to $20 value when you use the code LockedOnCollege at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and $0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code LockedOnCollege. Don't forget, that's code LockedOnCollege, 50% off your first order with DoorDash. Okay, so while Ohio State currently, as we speak, is celebrating their big win at South Bend, I'm going to take a quick look at the scoreboard because we are live here on a Saturday night. We got a couple other games that are in action right now as we speak. Indiana at home against Akron. That game is tied at 17 with 2.5 minutes to go. Indiana was a 21-point favorite in that game. This game is tied. Meanwhile, Minnesota up 31-24 at Northwestern. That with 2 minutes to go as well. Take a look around the rest of the Big Ten as well. Of course, Penn State was a 31-0 win in the rain with the whiteout over Iowa. Cade McNamara came out. I thought they were going to do everything they needed to do because they lost Luke Lachey this week, and I've been kind of hard on Eric All, the transfer from Michigan that came over with McNamara. And where's the chemistry, man? They're not using him. And he only had one catch last week. They came out, threw to him right away, midfield. There was Eric All fumbled later on. Meanwhile, Drew Allar was just passing. All night long, the pass over the middle for Drew Allar was there available. He hit his first 9 passes. It was like everything was just scripted. It just worked out great for them. They had to kick a field goal on early on to take a 3-0 lead, but then it just kind of Iowa, I think in 5 drives, they punted 6 times and they turned the ball over once. It just wasn't pretty. I thought maybe they'd be satisfied with playing the field position game a little bit, but Penn State just kept taking advantage of it. There was even a play where I thought Iowa was still in the game. Cooper DeJean, he's their great punt returner. It hit the gunner in the back and they didn't get the ball. And it kind of went downhill from there. Penn State went up 10-0 shortly after that. Allar on the night ended up with a career high 4 touchdown passes. And by the second half, he was filing Tyler Warren for a couple of touchdown passes. They put together some magnificent drives, 10-play drive, then followed by a 15-play drive for 75 yards. They were just all over the place. So it was a pretty dominating night. Allar capped it off with Keandre Lambert-Smith with a 3-yard touchdown to make it 31-0. And again, a career night for Drew Allar with 4 touchdown passes on the evening. Up and down night for kicker Alex Felkins. But again, it was raining, so I don't know. Maybe that is still the problem that Penn State still has. But 31-0, the final score there. I just gave you the updates. Again, Indiana and Akron tied at 17. Minnesota still up 31-24 over Northwestern earlier in the day. And we'll talk about all these later in the week. If you're new to us, you're just finding us live on a Saturday night. We do this every weekday, release them every morning, podcast, video, and audio. Locked On Big Ten, part of the Locked On Sports Network. We'll talk about this more in the week, but Michigan, they held their own against Rutgers. I thought Rutgers actually, despite the 31-7 score, I thought Rutgers played Michigan pretty tough. It was a closer game for a while, and then Michigan was just bigger, stronger, faster, and pulled away. Jim Harbaugh's first game back on the sidelines, of course, so since the 3-game suspension. Illinois really needed a win here. They beat Florida Atlantic 23-17. Yeah, it was a closer game than they wanted. Illinois could have scored another touchdown late, but they slid at the 3-yard line on a breakaway run and didn't score. Just wanted to run out the clock there. Maryland defeated Michigan State 31-9. Michigan State's got big problems. Maryland looks good. Nebraska had a battle with Louisiana Tech. It was 28-14, but that game was a lot closer than the score indicates. And again, Heinrich Haarberg played very well, got better as the game went on. This is the backup quarterback in there now because Jeff Sims has been hurt. Of course, Jeff Sims had the 6 turnovers in the first 2 games. Cornhusker fan, what do you think? Do you have a new quarterback here, or are you going back to Jeff Sims when he's healthy? I think Haarberg looks good, although I think Matt Rule, I think he's going to be loyal to Jeff Sims because after all the spring and summer and the start of the season, Sims was his guy. He probably gives him one more chance, but I don't know. Haarberg looked pretty good. That game was delayed by inclement weather as well. And got those games to talk about. And, of course, Purdue loses to Wisconsin on Friday night. That was an interesting game. We will get into all of that. So, anyway, that's on the board from this weekend into next week. Speaking of next week, week 5. You believe it? It feels like we're quickly approaching the halfway point of the season. I can't believe it. We're going to get into all that in just a minute. I also want to let you know about a couple of things. Not only is Locked On Big Ten on every day during the week, your favorite, wherever you get your podcasts, however you download them, we're there on all of them and on YouTube. Also on this channel on Fridays, we do a show called Locked On College Football Kickoff Live. It's 11 a.m. Eastern to 1 p.m. Eastern. That's always a good watch and listen. So I invite you to check that out as well. And since I've got a lot of new people watching here live on the weekend when we're normally not on, hoping to catch some new audience members, I always ask you guys to do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. It's free. Just click it on the bottom. We started this. I took over this channel. It had already existed. I took it over in late June, and I think we had about 1,200 subscribers when I inherited it. We're up to 3,500. People are digging it, loving it, love being part of it. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Just subscribe so you can be a part of this Big Ten club throughout the week. You don't miss anything, and would love to welcome you aboard. Also, feel free to share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. If you have somebody that's a Big Ten friend, a Big Ten alumni, Big Ten family member, or just a fan that you know of, please pass the word about us to them, that we're here every single day talking Big Ten, and we have a lot of fun doing it. All right, we're going to take a quick peek at what's coming up for week 5 on the schedule for the Big Ten on Locked On Big Ten. I'll tell you about FanDuel. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. I got it. What do you think I'm doing tomorrow? Watching that. Now's the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on anything from point spreads to player props and more. By the way, Ohio State, Notre Dame, that was a push, right? Ohio State was a 3-point favorite. So anyway, yeah, I know these things. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. All right, so we take a quick look. And by the way, I'm going to scroll on the bottom, our new website we have here, talkbig10.com. Check it out on the bottom of the screen, talkbig10, talkbig10.com. Everything we do is funneled through there. There's some other stuff on there you're going to want to check out as well, as long as you're part of our Big Ten club. I want to welcome you aboard. Okay, so let's take a look. Week 5 coming up. And Penn State, which had its whiteout tonight, very easy breezy game. They may have another easy one next week at noon on Saturday against Northwestern on the Big Ten Network. Louisiana is at Minnesota for a noon kickoff, also Big Ten Network. The Michigan Wolverines hit the road. This is their first road game of the season after 4 straight games at home, the first 3 of which Jim Harbaugh was out of the loop, being suspended. He's back. They hit the road. They'll take on a Nebraska team that's still, is trying to find its way. That's a 3:30 kickoff on Fox. Indiana is at Maryland at 3:30 on the Big Ten Network. Also, Illinois is at Purdue. Purdue's been giving up a lot of points, and this might be what Illinois needs right now because Illinois is trying to find its way, but that's a 3:30 game on Peacock. Of course, I'll have all these games on our Friday podcast when we do Pigskin Picks, and I'll let you know who I think is going to win these. Wagner is at Rutgers, 3:30 Big Ten Network, and Michigan State is at Iowa. Both teams that need that. Look, Iowa's first loss of this season at Penn State. They get to come home, take on a Michigan State team that just has not found its way. That's NBC and Peacock. Ohio State, a much earned bye. Wisconsin, a bye as well after a Friday game. So a long, long break for them as well. And that's it. That's a peek ahead. Again, if you're just catching us live, you're sitting on the couch after watching these games, you're on your phone. Hey, what's this? Locked On Big Ten Live. We are here every weekday, Monday through Friday. We crank out new ones, and then we come on live here on Saturday night after the big games. But look for us during the week. And again, if you subscribe, we'll get sent right into your device, and you'll be good to go. I want to thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen every day. Or you everydayers that always catch us? Next show on Monday, you know the drill. We are going to get after it. We're going to talk about these Ohio State Buckeyes and how far they can go amid everything else that went on in the Big Ten this week. So look forward to talking to you then. Many ways to interact with me on Twitter at Talk Big Ten, number 10, Talk Big Ten. Our website, of course, Talk Big Ten, number 10, talkbig10.com. And, of course, here on YouTube as well. So be sure to subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest of Locked On Big Ten as soon as is available each and every day. Also want to invite you to check out another podcast, the Locked On Sports Today podcast. They have the latest on absolutely everything going on in sports, so check them out as well. Have yourself a great day, a great night, a great weekend. Can't wait to talk to you next time. If you've just discovered us, thanks for checking us out. Hope to have you back. I'm Craig Shemon, live on a Saturday night on Locked On Big Ten.